You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly pop and geek culture show covering movies, TV, games, and comics. Now your hosts, Cody Pinnick, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that's not even supposed to be here today. It's our day off.
I was just going to do that intro. I was just thinking of that.
I'm Dante.
I'm Randall, and this week we have a special guest with us back again, Jordan Taylor.
Hey everybody.
Glad to have you back on the show.
Glad to be here.
All right. So we have a great show for you this week, a bunch of news to go over, but first let's talk about some things we've been checking out.
Check it out!
All right, so let's talk about some stuff we've been doing.
I guess I'll try to get the big one out of the way.
Sure, let's hear it.
We watched Thor: Love and Thunder last night.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Or yesterday.
Awesome.
I should say. I liked it.
Yeah?
I mean, I know we kind of talked about it in the group chat. And,
Right, but the listeners here aren't privy to our group chat.
yeah,
So.
I mean, some people are saying it was okay. Some people are saying it was better than Ragnarok, which was the previous one.
I find that hard to believe.
I find that hard to
Ragnarok
believe.
was great.
Yeah,
Ragnarok's fantastic.
I've actually seen quite a few people online really not be happy with it. Like, it's too goofy, too jokey or something.
I mean, there is a lot. There is a lot. I mean, it gets pretty riffy at times.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's part of the reason why I liked it so much. I don't know. But I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
There was some really, really neat like visuals in it. I don't want to say them cinematography because some of the scenes are almost look like they were animated rather than filmed.
Well, I mean, with so much CG in movies, it almost
is that way.
It's practically an animated movie.
Yeah, like Christian Bale, I think, does a pretty good job being Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, he usually does a pretty good job with stuff.
I mean, he's an infamous method actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he does pretty good on a lot of stuff. There was one point, like, Nicole leaned over when we were watching the movie. She goes, "You know what? I get his deal."
You kind of get it, yeah. Well, that's the best kind of villain, are the ones where you can kind of
be sympathetic toward their plight.
See where they're coming from. You know, like a Magneto.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's a bad guy.
Or a Mr. Freeze.
Or a Mr. Freeze. You see where they're coming from.
Well, even Thanos had a point that like worlds are getting overpopulated and whatever. I don't think his solution was great.
No, but
bad solution. Like, it would have been just as easy for him to snap and say, "I would like to double all the resources in the universe."
Or yeah. You know who else I thought had a good point was Warmonger?
Killmonger.
Killmonger actually,
again,
he kind of took it a little bit to the extreme.
Right,
but
yeah. He took it too far.
The ideology was kind of
solid.
Sound. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, he was like, okay, I definitely get where you're coming from.
Yeah, those are the best villains. The ones that are forgettable are usually, the ones that are like, I'm evil. I'm like a Ironmonger from Iron Man 1. I love Jeff Bridges, but his
Warmonger.
Ironmonger.
Oh, that's right.
He wears the suit.
Because it's
he's just like, I like
honestly,
money.
I like money.
I mean, honest, like going back and watching like the first couple like MCU films, they are not strong.
Well, because they were feeling it out.
Yep.
And
the first Thor. The first Thor is kind of...
Dark World sucks.
Oh, Dark World's terrible. But the first Thor is kind of meh.
It's a little slow.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
I would watch that again. I wouldn't watch Dark World again, and I wouldn't watch Iron Man 3.
Oh, 3 is so bad.
Is that the one where everybody explodes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trash. With the extremist virus or whatever.
The hot plant virus.
Yeah. I hate that one. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Also, the Incredible Hulk's not very good. Like the only Hulk movie in the MCU, and it's not very good.
I have a soft spot for the Incredible Hulk. It's better than the Ang Lee Hulk.
Well, that's not hard.
Well, true. And they've been pulling more and more stuff from that into the wider MCU to make sure that it does still count.
Yeah.
Like we're getting Abomination in She-Hulk, and it is Tim Roth.
He was in Shang-Chi.
And I guess Wong is going to show up briefly in She-Hulk as well, because he and Abomination, not only are they pit fighter, combatants, they're like drinking buddies.
I saw some meme where they talked about like what we're getting. It was some MCU thing I don't remember, but what we really wanted, and it was called Wong Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
I think Benedict Wong does a really good job.
I think he does too.
It's kind of funny that his name is Wong.
Yeah.
And his name
It
is
helps.
Benedict.
Yeah. Right.
And it's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I like him as an actor. He's pretty good. I'll watch him in just about anything with that. Just, I don't know. A lot of the side characters in the MCU are generally enjoyable.
They're pretty enjoyable. I'm glad they're getting different directors, kind of with different visions.
Yeah.
Like, there for a while,
It was pretty much the same people
it's
around.
kind of samey. Everything is very kind of factory style.
Yeah.
Almost like, the Spider-Man movies are great, but the director of those movies has no vision.
Mhm.
Like, they are the most cookie cutter, by the numbers. This is what an action scene looks like.
Yeah.
This is what a talking scene looks like.
Yeah. No, I get what you're
Where
saying.
you have Taika Waititi and
going really weird in it.
going weird. You have Sam Raimi bringing in his stuff and Doctor Strange.
Man,
Multiverse
that
of
movie
Madness.
that movie is the most Raimi movie to ever Raimi. Like all the Raimi
the crash,
calling cards are there.
The snap zooms and like the
Crash zooms,
yeah.
weird eye stuff, weird hand stuff.
Yep.
Bruce Campbell. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
it's all there.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the film.
Yes.
I don't know. It's pretty good. It's kind of interesting to see how New Asgard has evolved within the MCU, being on Earth and everything. Because when you see it in Ragnarok, I think, yeah.
No, they weren't in Ragnarok.
No.
It was they settled there in Endgame.
Right.
At
in
the end
Endgame.
of Endgame, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's in Endgame. It's just a weird little dirty fishing village.
Right.
In this movie, yeah, it's still a fishing village, but also it has become a tourist attraction with like rides and stuff and attractions.
Okay.
Interesting.
Like they have like a special spot where Odin died or disappeared or whatever. They had where Hela destroyed Mjolnir. And the pieces are still there because obviously you can't move them.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like under like a glass dome, and there's like a little tour guide with a thing talking about it over a
Interesting.
mic.
I mean, I guess that kind of would be the natural progression of a town like that, where
Like there's
you're
a big
it's kind of a gimmick town a little.
like
bit.
there's like a big like wide shot, and you see all these like Carnival Cruise style cruise ships like hanging out like in the bay.
Okay, interesting. That's.
And you kind of see like
I'm sure Valkyrie is not particularly pleased with all of that.
no, Valkyrie mentions that she enjoys being king
Okay.
of Asgard. Also, the little bug creature that ran around with Korg,
Mig.
Mig, is like Valkyrie's like assistant.
Oh, cool.
And wears a little like blousey outfit. And
Nice.
like there's a really good joke where like Thor's talking to the greater populace of New Asgard like in a town hall style meeting, and you keep hearing the sound of like a dry erase marker like on a board. And he's like, "Can you stop that? It's really distracting." And like it pans, and there she is like writing, and she's like, "What is she doing?" She's like, "She's taking minutes for the meeting." Because I can't think with the thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like it's stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty good. They kind of talk about more in depth about what happened with Thor and Jane's relationship off camera.
Good. They
when
need to, because that is one of the things that was kind of left by the wayside.
Yeah, between Dark World and Ragnarok.
When,
well, yeah, for her to just show back up. And
when
be like,
Natalie
"Hello."
Portman decided, you know what? I don't need these.
I mean, this movie
I don't
is.
need these films.
I mean, this movie is just like a minute under 2 hours long.
She had to go
Okay.
be in that movie where she lived in a bubble.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing, wasn't it?
Very busy living in a bubble.
Yeah. I always thought it was kind of weird that at the end of Endgame, when you had all the actors sign their names on the screen, Natalie Portman signs her name, and she had been in two movies out of the
And not that one.
and not either of the ending Avengers ones.
Was it one of those things where kind of pretty much everybody who was in the MCU wrote their name?
For the most part, but
I mean,
Kinda.
heck, even that kid from Iron Man 3's in the funeral scene.
that's true.
Well, sure, but he didn't sign his name. He didn't
That we
sign,
know of? I don't know.
Hey, that kid. No, it was like,
Iron Man 3 kid.
yeah,
That's how Jake Lloyd should have signed his autographs.
future
Episode Kid Anakin.
Yeah,
But no,
sign his stuff. Future Iron Lad. That's what it is.
yeah, right.
Yeah. I still have a theory that they're bringing in the Young Avengers. Into
I mean,
it,
they
and
kind of did with WandaVision, sorta. They brought in Wiccan and
Wiccan and Speed.
Yep.
Wanda's kids. They have
Which makes me wonder if they age him up, are they going to do what they did with Wiccan and Changeling in the comics?
they might. So they might.
Because when the
They
Young
were,
Avengers first started, he was called Asgardian,
Asgardian.
even though he's not an Asgardian.
Yeah. I think they're going to skip over that part and go straight to their long-term
Names.
but they've introduced those two. They've introduced Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show.
Yep.
They've introduced
Ant-Man's daughter.
Ant-Man's daughter, who they
Aged up.
aged up 5 years. They have Isaiah Bradley's son from Falcon and Winter Soldier, the secret first Captain America, the Black Captain America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so his grandson, what is Patriot,
Yeah.
is in that. So and he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I still
And
watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, so I
yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in that. Well, sorry, spoiler.
No, it's
he
fine,
shows
it's
up
fine.
for 2 seconds, but
It's fine.
he's in there. The one of the next Disney Plus shows is going to be Secret Invasion, which is a Nick Fury and the Skrulls centric
Yes.
show, which could very easily introduce
Bring in
Changeling into
Or
that,
Hulkling.
whatever they want to
Call
whatever they
him,
wanna
yeah.
call him. But they're introducing all of these teen superheroes.
See, Young
in
Avengers,
the
back when that
background.
comic came out, I really liked Young Avengers.
Yeah,
I thought it
I
was
still
pretty-
do.
I thought it was pretty good. But then there was like all that weird stuff with like Iron Lad being like,
Kang.
yeah, King the Conqueror.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think instead they're either going to bring in, because they're doing an Ironheart
yeah.
series, which is teen
Yeah.
lady Iron Man, basically.
You know, they keep doing this, and yet they keep dancing around Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen.
I can see why they're doing that, and it's entirely Sony's fault.
Yeah.
Plus, Miles Morales already has a successful film franchise in Enter the Spider-Verse, and those movies are amazing.
That's true. Very.
Anything that they do live action would draw a negative comparison
Yeah.
against how good Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse is and will be.
I mean,
so they're
it's
kind of hamstrung.
Like artistically, it's so good.
They're so good.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't wait.
Yep.
Anyway, more Thor. Like I said, I really like it. It's pretty good. It's really hard to talk about it without spoiling like the big stuff.
We don't want to spoil any of the big
Because
stuff or
I mean,
anything like that.
there is a lot of stories going on in this movie. I guess that's part of the thing. Like, I don't want to say it's like Aquaman where they try to fit too much, but there is some really big parts here and there. I mean, there's like a whole thing with like Thor's journey, I guess.
Sure.
And a lot of that's told through like exposition, through flashbacks, through Korg.
Okay.
I mean, the Guardians are in it, but only briefly.
Well, that's fine. They have their own movie series.
It's like the first, I don't know, and that Christmas special coming out.
and that Christmas special.
I think it's like
and Baby Groot,
yeah,
the TV series.
Yeah, the Groot. Yeah,
The Groot animated series that's going to be on Disney Plus.
Oh,
that is
I didn't know about
that is supposedly not connected to anything from what I've read.
No, it's just it's a toy.
It's his Groot stories.
It's a toy selling
Yep, selling Groot.
thing. Selling Baby Groots.
I mean, they
Nothing wrong with that.
no. I mean, before we had Grogu or Baby Yoda, we had Baby Groot. So
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe they should be friends.
And before that, we
I'm
had
sure
the
they are.
Muppet Babies.
There's kind of a gap in there, but yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a many year gap in there.
Well, but still, I mean, I think the Muppet Babies were kind of the progenitor of
Yeah,
the
that's true.
baby version of
Yeah, 'cause we had
of
that.
main
No,
character.
and then we
Their
had
own
like,
character, sure.
and then we had like Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons.
And then they did-
although Tiny Toons isn't quite that.
That's true. I mean, they did do that young Looney Tunes show there, like
Baby Looney Tunes.
the Baby
and
Looney
that was
Tunes.
awful.
Yeah,
Oh, that was not
yeah,
a good show.
Yeah,
Although I didn't really care for Muppet Babies either, so
I feel
watched
like
a fair bit of Muppet
I
Babies.
watched it too, but also it was a cartoon that was on TV when I was a child.
It's one of those, you just watched it.
I watched it, yeah.
It's on TV. You have 3 channels, sometimes 4.
Yeah, and it wasn't like
you watch it.
It wasn't like when I was like as I got older and I generally found shows I really really loved like Batman the Animated Series or Gargoyles or the Spider-Man or the '90s X-Men. Let's see here.
I almost hit the Professor X screaming.
I'm glad you didn't. That soundbite hurts.
I know. Some of the sound bites are here to hurt. Are here to hurt us. It's okay.
In my mind.
In my mind.
God, I mean, there's so much going on, and like I said, some of the scene, like some of the special effects and the visuals on stuff is really cool. Like when they go to meet Zeus, where these gods are hanging out, is pretty neat. There's two credit scenes. There's a mid credit which kind of gives you a taste of what's coming.
Okay.
And then there's an end credit which felt more like a
kind of comedy joke.
No.
Oh,
no.
really?
I thought it was going to be, but it's really not. It was more like I don't want to say like a bookend maybe.
Okay.
On a particular storyline, but who knows? Because comics.
I prefer the end credit sequences that are more jokes. I would rather them be jokes instead of setting up the next thing.
That's true.
It kind of makes the whole movie seem like it is in service to the next story. When that happens, I prefer just kind of like, I prefer the Avengers getting shawarma instead of seeing Thanos' head pop up.
Yeah. No, I completely get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember the first time, in Iron Man, I missed that end credit scene, and then people started talking about it. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And that started the
Sam
whole
Jackson.
thing.
Yeah.
That started the whole thing. Now, you can't watch any movie anymore and, not have people wait till the credits or sit through the credits. Doesn't even matter if it's a Marvel movie.
We saw like, what did we just see? Godzilla or something where people stayed until the end.
Was it Godzilla?
I think it was Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh yeah, that we did see that in theater.
And people just like kept staying and staying.
That's another thing. Like I just saw an announcement a couple of days ago where they said, the MonsterVerse is continuing. There's already stuff in the works.
I wish we could just stop calling things the blank verse.
Yeah,
that's kind of. But
that's more on Legendary's end than anything.
Yeah. The more I see movies trying to do the interconnected storyline sort of thing, the more I kind of am thinking that Marvel's success has been one gigantic fluke.
Yeah.
Because some of the other like interconnected movie things, like remember the Dark Universe?
Ugh. You mean the like what 2 or 3 false starts on that one?
Yeah.
And how they were all terrible.
Dracula Untold, the first movie in the Dark Universe,
and that one flopped.
And then The Mummy, the first movie in the Dark Universe.
I thought
I Frankenstein, the first movie in the.
I thought Frankenstein came up before The Mummy.
It did, yeah. Right. I was just making jokes.
Oh, and then there was that Invisible Man movie with Johnny Depp. They were supposed to do, but and then it died.
And there's. It's set up Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Sam Jackson / Hulk of the Dark Universe team.
Yeah. Oh. I heard they're, speaking of which, I heard they are talking about bringing back the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Nice.
Okay.
Like as a series.
Okay. Huh. I think
I'd be up for that.
Like a made for streaming series of that.
Could be better than a movie.
Could be better than a movie because you would be able to let the story breathe a little bit, and you wouldn't have to go, "Hey, here's this character. Hey, here's this character.
Remember
hey, here's
this guy?
Character.
Here's this other guy. Look at these people. They're here. Bye."
Which is wild. When I read back on it, that is the last movie Sean Connery ever made before he retired.
Really?
And that's a shame.
Yeah, because that movie is.
It's
I don't know. When I was younger,
I loved it. When I was younger.
Yeah, when I was younger, I loved it, and then going back, I'm like, man, this is like
painful.
Yeah, I mean, it's visually interesting, and like to get the idea of like this is kind of like the Avengers with literary characters is kind of neat.
Speaking of the Avengers, if League of Extraordinary Gentlemen hadn't been Connery's last movie, do you know what it would have been? The Avengers, the one with Emma. Uma Thurman.
The British one?
Ray
nice.
Fiennes.
The British one?
The British one, where
That
he was
movie-
the villain in that.
The British spy movie?
That
Yeah.
movie is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's just fun.
I never did watch the
Sean
old TV.
Connery wears a giant stuffed bear costume for a scene for no reason.
Well, lots of
There's
people
no
are
reason.
wearing stuffed bear costumes.
In that scene? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just in general.
It's, well, probably in general, but it's not the same bear costume that Nick Cage punches a lady while she's dressed like a bear.
Oh, yeah. In
Wicker Man.
Wicker Man.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. They're in my eyes.
Oh, the Wicker Man.
Yep.
It's not good.
No. I mean, even the old 70s one with
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine and
Bees.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Is not very good. Though I do have a real big soft spot for like pretty much anything Christopher Lee ever did.
Especially the Hammer horror stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the old school. Anytime he played Dracula.
Yeah, the like all his Dracula films and like Peter Cushing being Van Helsing.
Yep. Grand Moff Tarkin versus Count Dooku as Dracula and yeah.
Saruman the White versus
Yeah. Did you okay, so fun thing about this. Okay, so the Zucker brothers, the guys who did Airplane,
Oh yeah.
they also did a movie called Top Secret. Okay, so it
Sounds really familiar.
it's Val Kilmer. It's a spoof on both Elvis movies and World War II spy movies.
Okay.
So Val Kilmer plays this a teen heartthrob musician that is going through Europe, and they enlist him to be a spy, and then wacky stuff ensue like in Airplane.
Yeah.
So there's one scene where Peter Cushing shows up, and the gag is he is like you walk in on the scene, and he's like holding a magnifying glass up to his eye. So it has like the big like zoomed in eye thing, and he takes the thing down, and his eye is just that big in that perfect circle. So they had to make a full plaster cast of Peter Cushing's head in order to
make that
prosthetic. And they used that years and years and years later to do 3D mocap for him showing up in Rogue One.
Oh, where
That's
he's
how they
like
did that?
That's how they did that. They used the plaster cast that was made for Top Secret, the stupid Zucker Brothers movie. But they used that. His family had it like in storage or something.
Yeah, that was probably like one of the last things
and
that like has like an actual physical casting of his face from that time.
Yeah, and
Sure.
they did a 3D scan of that bust
And digitally remade his head.
inserted that onto the actor's head at the end of Rogue One. Yeah,
Weird.
crazy stuff.
That is crazy.
Technology, I tell you.
It's wild. But also it goes into places that are questionable. Mm-hmm. I mean, like the whole thing with like bringing back, Peter Cushing for Rogue One. Like I get why they did it, but also it kind of creates a weird precedence of bringing dead celebrities back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. His family gave the okay for it.
True.
So it's still kind of gross.
Yeah.
But at least it's setting the precedent that companies have to go to next of kin
Yeah.
in order to get likeness
It's
rights.
kind of like when they first started.
Instead of just doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they first started goofing around with hologram, quote unquote, technology.
Oh, yeah.
And
The Tupac hologram.
That's exactly where I was going to go with the Tupac hologram and Snoop Dogg doing the Coachella act with the Tupac hologram.
Hologram Tupac, yeah.
And that makes me really uncomfortable because they were really, 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 really good friends, and he passed away in a very tragic way. And I can't imagine what was going through Snoop Dogg's head during that.
Yeah,
Right,
that
yeah.
would be weird.
That would be weird. That would be heartbreaking to me. Like say, God forbid, something happened to you, and
You get hologram Sam sitting
either
here.
a hologram or hologram Sam, or that some computer recreates your voice.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd like that.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's a really slippery slope when it comes to this stuff. I tell you what's a slippery slope: the crowd scene in Space Jam 2.
Oh yeah,
Because it's a whole bunch of that. What they did was
Warner
they took-
Brothers owned properties.
Yeah, if you were in a Warner Brothers movie, they took your
or something that
character-
they currently own.
Yeah, they took the character out and put him in the crowd. So you had the awful guys from Clockwork Orange standing next to
cheering.
Danny DeVito's the Penguin and
Michelle Pfeiffer's Penguin was in there too.
Catwoman.
Or yeah.
Anyway, now, Michelle Pfeiffer's
Catwoman.
Penguin is something I would like to see. That would be interesting. But no, it's just gross. Yeah.
That sounded like Wario.
You did, and you looked like Wario there for a second too.
I was like Waluigi.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Wah.
But no, just that it was really gross how they were able to pull and just put live action. Like cartoons was one thing. At the end of the day, cartoons is one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But like putting CGI renditions, like
Clockwork Orange is kind of is a really, while it's a classic, it is also not a movie for children.
There is
Not
no
for
reason
kids,
why
yeah.
that should be in a
kids movie.
in a kids
Nope.
movie.
Nope.
But you know what you get what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
Just
100%.
The idea of using those characters and making lifelike renditions of them, even for background gags, is kind of gross.
It is weird. And they also had, I think they also had the 60s Adam West Batman and Robin out there too.
And that's terrible.
And that's
don't do that.
I mean, I'm wondering if they asked permission from the West family to do that. I mean, Burt Ward's still alive to do that, but
yeah.
But Adam West, I mean, he's been gone
Couple years.
like 6 years?
5-6 years,
Yeah, 5-6 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we got to meet him that one time.
We did get to meet him. He was a very busy man, but
Yeah,
he was
also very kind.
He is kind. Yes, that's very true.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like I've dominated all this
No, it's
conversation.
okay. That's good. Actually, let's go ahead and take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to get into some news and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Dunham, the host of Long Play. Long Play might be, as far as anyone can tell, a hit from coast to coast. Apparently, Long Play may also be an international sensation. I've contacted WZMO's sister station in Paris to check the pulse of the City of Lights. Bonjour! Avec Long Play?
Tu vas te tuer, espèce d'idiot. C'est incroyable.
My French is a little rusty, but I think she said we're a hit.
Imbécile.
I invite you to tune into Long Play Fridays at 11 p.m. and Saturdays at 3 p.m. Juste ici on WZMO.
Hey, we're back. Those were some promos from great programming you can catch. And now for the news.
And that's why we call you One Take Harrison.
Spoiler alert, that was like 100.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about some news and stuff. We mentioned it kind of in our intro for the show, but there's a trailer that Kevin Smith dropped for Clerks III, the second ending to the Viewisk universe grouping of films. He's taking another stab at it.
I mean, at least this one's kind of inspired by his life.
Yeah, this one definitely takes some very broad strokes from recent things that have happened to him. Basically, one of the characters, Randall from Clerks II, and all the other movies, has a heart attack while working at the Quick Stop and decides he wants to make a movie
About his life.
And his movie seems an awful lot like Clerks 1, so it's a very meta kind of
I think it's even shot in black and white, because there's a scene in the trailer where it shows Dante talking at him from behind the camera, and everything's in black and white, like the first Clerks.
Yep. Yeah. And I think this is an interesting take. It is a little self-serving.
Oh, of course. What of his movies aren't?
That's very true.
I mean, he is literally a character in all his movies.
Yeah. Well, he wrote the character of Randall for himself in Clerks 1 and gave Randall all the best lines.
True.
And then
I mean, Randall does have, other than Jay, I think he does have all the best lines in the movies.
Well, Jay barely had his lines written for him. It was
all
just kind of
ad lib from Jason Mewes
riffing. Also, Jason Mewes, nice guy. Met him at a con, signed a bunch of stuff for free. We talked about sitting in his hotel room watching movies.
He seems like a nice guy.
He was a very nice guy. Yeah. But Clerks 3, it looks fine.
It definitely feels like it's coming full circle.
It does. I'm just a little concerned. See, I used to love Kevin Smith's films.
Oh yeah,
I was
me too.
a big fan of all of them, and I think I may have aged out of his films a little bit.
Or maybe his brand of humor.
Well, not so much his brand of humor, because some of that it's very all of his films are very wordy.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of people. He doesn't really know how to write action, so it's a lot of characters. They walk onto screen and they say a bunch of words at each other, and then they walk off screen.
True.
I honestly think he peaked with Dogma I think it might be my favorite of his films.
Dogma is so good.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Like going back and watching Clerks and Chasing Amy and some of his earlier stuff is a little rough.
Dogma is also probably one of his more fantastical films.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of his other stuff is a little like while it is wacky, it is more grounded.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's with the with the Skewiverse, the Jersey Chronicles. Mm-hmm. Get into the other stuff, it's a different story.
His other movies are maybe not quite as good. Tusk was an interesting watch. I'm glad I watched it. I'll never watch it again. Same thing with Red State. And
ooh, man, Red State makes me uncomfortable.
Red State is a rough one.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I could not get through Yoga Hosers.
Never saw it.
Oh, you're not missing much. It was him trying to do wacky comedy again, and
with monsters.
And
his daughter.
He put his daughter into the films.
Yep, Harley Quinn Smith.
Mm-hmm. That is his daughter. Yeah, you're making a face, Jordan, but yes, that is his daughter's name, Harley Quinn Smith.
Huh. Yeah, I personally have no affinity for Kevin Smith, so I just don't have much to contribute. I've seen Dogma.
We watched Dogma.
I think I had maybe seen it in college at some point, but I don't know that I've seen any of his other movies. And
let's see here. Clerks,
for me.
Mallrats, Chasing Amy.
Mallrats is fun.
Mallrats is fun. It also does feature a Stan Lee cameo.
Yep.
Clerks 2,
which Clerks 2 I thought was not good.
I've maybe seen the Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Oh yeah,
okay,
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah.
And that one's more of a wacky thing.
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, he's just one of those.
That one definitely fell into the niche of at the time of like dumb stoner road trip movies that were the trend at the time.
Yeah,
Dude,
where's my car?
Dude, where's my car? Vacation. Yeah.
Yep. Dude, where's my car?
Me, myself, and Irene.
Almost like a Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Yep.
That kind of stuff.
I'm honestly surprised you, Jordan, you haven't watched Jersey Girl, because I know you enjoy romantic comedies. It was the first Jay and Silent Bob, a non-connected film that he had done, and it is a romantic comedy. And it got a bad rap at the time because it wasn't his normal style, but
it's not bad.
But since I don't like his normal style, maybe I would like it.
You would probably enjoy it. It's Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck.
Like Liv Tyler.
Jennifer Lopez for 30 seconds. Will Smith for like 30 seconds.
Was in it for 30 seconds. George Carlin. It was probably one of
the last
things he did.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah. Yep. But it's good. I mean, it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's
it's a serviceable movie,
and it's so much not his style that, again, I think you would actually dig it.
That's fair.
I mean, Red State's kind of that way too. Like it's not.
But
his
that's a full-blown horror movie.
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Michael Rooker and
Michael Rooker.
Rooker showed up in a number of them.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, he was in Mallrats. Michael Rooker was Yondu in Guardians.
Yeah.
He was in Mallrats. He was in Tusk.
Oh, is he in Tusk?
He's the guy that
I never saw Tusk.
Okay, well,
he's in it.
He's in it. I mean, spoiler, he's the one that sews Justin Long inside a walrus suit.
Well, that sounds like a time.
Yeah, it's a horror movie.
Oh.
A guy kidnaps Justin Long. The I'm a Mac, I'm a PC guy.
Yeah, he's in New Girl.
He is.
Huh.
Yes.
I would not have expected him in a Kevin Smith horror movie.
He is a snarky podcaster who goes to interview an old sailor, and the sailor turns out to be a serial murderer who is taking the skin from people and sewed a lifelike walrus costume and sews Justin Long inside it in order to reenact a fight to the death he had with a walrus years prior.
Huh. Well, that sounds like things.
Yeah,
that
I never want
to.
It was interesting the first time, and I never want to watch it again. Also, the Sixth Sense boy is in it.
Oh.
Haley Joel Osment.
Haley Joel Osment. Yeah. Yep. The voice of Sora.
Oh, I forgot about
from
that.
from
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
I'm
Yeah.
just picturing Justin Long crying all the time, but inside his walrus costume.
Yeah, no, that's actually the last shot of the film. There, it's like a voiceover about how watch an animal crying is what is the difference between humans and animals, and it's this walrus that has been he's been conditioned into believing he's a walrus. So he's living at a zoo, and his girlfriend is like saying her final goodbye to him as a walrus, and then you see walrus Justin Long cry.
Oh.
And it was supposed to be there. He is supposed to be in the third horror movie that Kevin Smith was going to do called Moose Jaws, which is it's set in Canada. What if Jaws were set in Canada and it was
a moose?
and it was just a big moose, and Moose Jaws was going to fight the Tusk walrus?
Yeah, Tusk, Yoga Hosers, and this other one were supposed to be part of this trilogy called the Great White North Trilogy.
The Great White North Trilogy. It's all set in Canada.
Oh,
yeah,
I would see the moose movie.
you would
That sounds
you would see
stupid.
Moose Jaws.
I would see Moose Jaws.
Moose are truly terrifying.
They are.
They
They
are.
will like.
They are
yeah.
territorial. They are huge.
They're
Like they are
enormous.
some kaiju level monsters.
Whales will eat them.
They
Yeah.
will also dive. They will also dive deep into the ocean just to eat plant life.
And that's how they get eaten by whales.
Yep, that's terrifying. Anyway, so
Anyway.
Clerks 3.
No moose in it.
No moose.
No
unfortunately.
moose. Justin Long was in the trailer.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the doctor that told Dante was going to give him a rectal exam.
Oh. I
You
missed
probably
that.
couldn't tell because he was being his comedy self and not his tragedy self, and also had a very unfortunate mustache.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
It could be good. It could be not. It's Kevin Smith. It's his own production company. It's
It
his own. It's his own money.
It depends how much weed Kevin Smith has smoked prior to making the film.
A lot because he smokes a lot.
Well, then that's going to be a bad movie because that's what happened with Yoga Hosers. Yoga Hosers, co-starring Johnny Depp. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
it?
He is Guy Lafleur, Canada's best detective.
all right.
Also, his daughter is the other yoga hoser. It's Lily Rose Depp and Harley Quinn Smith are the two leads.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, and they work like in a convenience store or something.
it's basically Clerks, but
with female characters
and monsters.
and monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like
I
Kevin
mentioned
Smith.
that I don't care for Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like as time goes on, like people used to like lift him up and like, oh my god, Kevin Smith movies, blah. I mean, that's how Red State got made. But
He is the perfect example of wasted potential. He
Nice pun.
thanks.
oh, I was.
Yeah. But no, he was in that same. He was at one point in the same like conversation as like Tarantino and other
Like-
filmmakers of that time that were like these
Indie outliers.
indie outliers that were supposed to go on and do great things. Tarantino went on and did great things. Some of the other ones went on and did great things. Kevin Smith kind of floundered a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of like.
He was the executive co-producer of Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, he was also a what do they call it? A shadow writer, a ghost writer,
Ghost writer.
on it. He punched up some of the jokes in it.
I mean, him and
Affleck,
Affleck are really good friends.
That's
or they
true.
were really good friends.
yeah,
I
they
don't
were
believe
really
they
good.
are anymore.
Yeah, they brought back the Thor actors.
Oh, they the Thor actors. Nice. All right, that's great. Don't spoil
I'm
anymore.
not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So some other trailers that we watched. Disney's Strange World.
Yep, it's their next animated. It's their next animated outing called Strange World. The trailer plays off like straight up like one of those old school radio kind of drama,
Or like a film reel kind of
film
thing.
reel kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like those bad B movies from like the 50s and stuff like that.
But then it kind of opens up and it becomes its
Yeah,
own thing.
yeah, like this, otherworldly adventure. I'm wondering if they're on Earth, maybe deep in the Earth, kind of like either that, or maybe they're on some exoplanet or something. I'm not sure. There's no information.
It's human explorers in a alien environment where things are just kind of crazy.
Weird.
Like things are things that shouldn't move are moving, and there's
Or
weird plant
alive or
life
whatever, yeah.
and stuff like that. I think it looks neat.
Oh yeah,
It looks really pretty. I like the animation.
I mean, I like a lot of the the new renaissance of the Disney stuff.
Oh sure, yeah.
I mean, don't get I'm not a huge fan of Frozen, but it definitely. I mean, I like the style.
Yeah.
But, a lot of this stuff, like, Big Hero 6 is fantastic.
Oh,
And
so
Encanto
good.
is very good.
Tangled's really good.
Tangled's
Tangled is
very
great.
good.
Yep.
Frozen 2 was surprisingly good.
Yeah, Frozen 2 was pretty good. I think I liked Frozen 2 more than Frozen 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also it took itself less, or it took itself maybe a little more seriously. And also it kind of could poke fun at itself.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I like I said, I like a lot of this is definitely one of the ones they've done that wasn't quite, and doesn't seem like to be a story about a particular culture.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure, like Moana. And...
Yeah, like Moana or
Sure.
or Encanto or something like that. Which I love Moana too. Moana's fantastic.
Encanto is so good.
Oh, it's very good. It's so colorful. I love it.
So funny.
Great music.
Oh yeah.
The songs, yeah.
Oh
Now that-
yeah. That whole soundtrack is fantastic.
Yeah, those are going to be stuck in my head now, thanks.
We won't talk about it then,
Solid joke.
right?
10 out of 10. It reminded me of Titan AE
Yes.
and Treasure Planet and the third movie I can't think of that came out around the same time as those.
Like the landscape.
Atlantis. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Yep.
Which was back when Disney used to take chances and
On stuff.
go outside of their normal style, or both artistically and story wise.
Yep.
I love Atlantis. I think Atlantis is fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite of the early Millennium movies.
Oh, I legitimately loved
that one and Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet was good
It's
too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And Titan AE was a Don Bluth film, which is fantastic, just like Anastasia.
All the guys had the same face.
Exactly. Well, Don Bluth can draw two type of faces.
Yes, he can.
He can do the skinny hot guy, and he can do the kind of the bigger funny guy.
The chubby guy.
Yep. Either it's Feifel's dad, or it's it's Prince Charming, whatever.
Yeah. Or I was going to say it's either the Russian guy from Anastasia or the English guy from Anastasia.
I don't think I've seen Anastasia.
It's
Oh,
pretty.
it's very good.
It's good.
Is it?
It's good.
I like that movie.
Did you know the guy that was Kelsey Grammer playing the funny
Yes.
best friend?
Yeah.
In that?
Yeah.
Like one of the few animated roles that he had done? Yeah.
Does he fall off the stage at any point?
Oh, good lord.
Christopher Lloyd is the villain.
Yes, he is.
Oh, nice.
He's Rasputin, the former advisor to the Tsar. I love Don Bluth movies,
They're very
like
good.
Feifel,
I loved Fievel. as a
Secret of
kid.
Nim. I love those movies. I just like Don Bluth. I like the work he does. That's why I like Titan AE. Titan AE is a very visually cool sci-fi
Oh,
flick.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Like the electro alien monsters. It looks great. I love it.
Yeah. Speaking of aliens, there's a trailer for the next Jordan Peele horror dark comedy kind of sort of film. This one's called Nope.
All his titles are very simple.
They are like Get Out and Us and stuff like that.
Yes.
But yeah, this one it's looks like an alien keeps dive bombing this farmhouse out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
And it looks like this brother sister team are trying to
Get proof.
get video because they're running out of money and they want to sell.
And their dad died.
And their dad died.
Their dad was supposedly killed by this
the
thing.
aliens. Yeah. But there's one of the trailers. There's one trailer that had a lot of the plot of the movie in it, but there's another one where it's just
A lot of
spaceship
quick flashes.
alien ship shows up and it cuts to one of the characters going, nope, nope,
Nope.
No,
Heck
thank you.
No thanks.
And I just like the idea of a very realistic character seeing a supernatural something, and instead of doing the movie thing where they go after it, they do the real world thing where they just go,
Nope.
nope,
I'm good.
yeah, done, never mind.
Yeah.
I'd like to see like how there's always those fantasy movies of like, oh, you're the special chosen one or whatever, and it's like some teenager and they're just like, yeah, no thanks. I'm gonna.
I feel
go.
like that's like the first third of Hancock.
Yeah, kind of.
I
Yeah,
never saw that.
you're not missing much. It's not
Nope.
very good.
fair.
The big reveal in Hancock is terrible, and I hate it.
Yeah, how they're like space angels or something like that. It's bad.
Sounds lame.
Yeah, but
But it was Will Smith,
Yeah.
so it could have been good. That was definitely like one of his first I don't think I like this movie.
yeah.
Again, I'm sure it'll be very good. I haven't seen any of his other films. I haven't seen Us or
Get Out was
or-
really good.
I've heard that. I've heard that was like his first outing.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
Get Out
is nice
really
to see
good.
him branch out from doing sketch comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he seems to be doing really well in like making a legitimate name for himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And between that and he was part behind the revival of Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah,
the most recent
yeah,
one.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And Us, I've read. I know the synopsis of it. I haven't watched the film, but it sounded really good. But I just think it's really he's a really great filmmaker, and he has a really unique kind of vision to his films and his writing style, that sort of thing. He can blend dark comedy bits and overall psychological horror and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It blends really well together.
Yeah.
So
It's also nice to see movies that aren't basically like the same.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Because like, you take any genre of movie and we've seen 1,000 of them. Superhero films, your atypical horror films, a lot of that stuff that comes out. Like that Black Phone movie that's coming out.
Oh, that's out right now?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I want to see it because I'm like, part of me is like, it looks kind of interesting, but also the same I'm like,
It's done by Scott Derrickson, the guy who did the first Doctor Strange movie and a million other horror movies. So it's I've heard good things about it. So I would probably say watch it. It's definitely more like not supernatural really. It's more of a
psychological.
There's a supernatural bend, but it's not the overall. From what I understand, it's not the overall kind of takeaway.
So it's not
from
like,
it.
So it's not like Sinister or Babadook or something like that.
It's not like Sinister or Babadook. I mean, the villain of the movie is very much a real person, and not like hiding as a ghost. He is just a real person, but there is a supernatural twist.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it, where his victim or whatever picks up the phone, and like his past victims can talk to him through the phone.
That's basically it. Yeah, it's a serial kidnapper, a serial murderer kidnaps a kid, and there's a phone in his like holding cell area, and somehow the previous victims are able to call the kid on the black phone and give him hints on how to escape. That is basically it.
Wow.
Spooky.
Yeah. Anyway,
Pokemon Puzzle League is coming to the Switch, and I am psyched.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Yep, I saw that news today, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll actually get to play it.
Yeah.
It's the first game I got when I got a 64. My friend Andrea found it for me because that's one of the games I used to play on it. So it's a good time.
Maybe you could explain for the people who maybe not know what Pokemon Puzzle League is.
Sure. A lot of people compare it to Dr. Mario, which I had actually never played before, so that comparison was lost on me. I think you could also compare it to like Bejeweled. It's a game where you flip different colors around. It's like Tetris in reverse. Like you flip the colors around until all of the reds are in a row and then they disappear. But it's filling up from like things are dropping on you from the top. So you want to beat the other person before it hits the top. But for some reason they made a Pokemon theme.
So it's kind of like Puzzle Fighter.
It's Puzzle Fighter. It's
Collapse.
It's based directly on a Japanese game called Panel de Pon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. That is the non-Pokemon themed version of it.
That's the original version.
The
of it?
original. Yeah.
Okay.
So it just has a Pokemon theme, and at the beginning of the 64 game, anyways, I assume this will be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
They're just like porting it.
They're
over,
porting
right?
it. Yeah. It's
So like you get to be one of the characters from Pokemon, and you have your little crew of Pokemons, and they quote unquote help you play the game, but mostly they just make cool. Not at all cool, just random screeching sounds.
They just
in
kind
the
of scream their
background.
names at you.
Like old Pokemon games, they didn't even say their name. They just make those really horrible bit sounds.
This one's based off of the anime, so they say their names.
It does a little of both. They're
Yeah.
like it's like Zubat or something. Just makes this horrible like sound. Like but yeah,
It's kind of like in
Pikachu,
Pokemon Go when you select people's you tap the Pokemon and it makes a horrible noise.
Yeah, but Pikachu like yells his name at you.
Well, of course, it's Pikachu.
Well, Arcanine does too, right? He
Yeah,
yells,
a lot of them do.
Arcanine or something.
Dugong.
Yeah.
Snorlax.
So I'm excited. I love that game, and I just got a Switch not too long ago. So
Well, I'm glad.
yeah.
How are your Animal Crossing, by the way?
Oh, they're great. I have almost all the flower colors. I'm
Oh.
still missing
All the flower colors of like one particular species of flower.
almost all the flower colors. I'm still missing purple, one of the purples, and the blue roses, and I think the green one. So I'm only missing like 3.
Nice.
So that was your goal, to get all the flower colors.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Jordan and her botanical animal garden.
Mm-hmm.
So Netflix announced that the team behind Stranger Things, or at least the guys who...
The two main guys
that worked on Stranger Things, are trying their hands at a live-action Death Note series.
Yeah, Death Note being an
Japanese anime.
It was an anime and manga manga. Sorry, my North American accent, can't say manga correctly. But no, and they
You should definitely keep trying.
manga. Yes, it was a Japanimation. That was that's what they used to call it before they called it anime. They called it Japanimation. I always like to throw that in because that's very funny to me. No, it was they've tried a couple of adaptations.
Yes.
Here.
There have been 2 or 3 Japanese-made movies
Right.
that were not very good.
It seems like every 10 minutes there's a new Death Note, and I have seen none of them.
I like the series.
Yeah.
I really like the series, though the later part of the series where it takes a big major shift is not very good at all. Though the last episode's very good.
Okay, tell me the elevator pitch, like in one or two
Okay,
sentences.
so Death Note is a story of a high schooler named Light Yagami who finds a magic book from another world, dimension of death gods called Shinigami, and the big thing of it is that you can write anybody's name in it, and that person will die somehow.
Within 24 hours of the thing, right?
Yes, or depending on how they write it in the book. They could be, if they just write their name, they just die of a heart attack. But if you're a little more specific, you can actually kind of control how things happen within
Right.
reason.
And it's this light guy starts to
He thinks he's going to be some kind of new god or
a hero
force of
kind
justice.
thing. Yeah,
in the
starts,
world.
He starts targeting people doing
Criminals.
criminals, and then eventually it kind of spins out of control.
Yeah,
from that.
he becomes tainted by power, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Thinking he's some kind of, he's going to be some kind of king of the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the show. The Netflix adaptation of a live action movie is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, there is if you will go back about 2 years in our backlog, there was an episode where the 3 of us railed against that show or that movie.
Yep.
For the entire first half of the show, because we all watched it and it was
awful.
terrible. The only good thing about it was Willem Dafoe was the voice and motion capture of the main demon guy, who just coincidentally the guy who created the series drew a monster that looked kind of just like Willem Dafoe.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Yep, Ryuk. That is the only good part of that whole movie is William Dafoe as
And he's
Ryuk.
barely in it.
Yeah. I mean, he's also not he looks like a really bad CGI monster most of the time.
But
Unless
they did not
it's
do a very good
unless
job.
it's a dark scene.
So
And
do
then it
you
looks-
think this reboot is going to be better?
One can hope. I'm not going to hold my breath.
That's fair.
I have no dog in this race other than being a fan of Death Note because I've never seen Stranger Things.
Fair.
So I don't know what kind. I've heard lots of people talk about how good the show is, this, that, and the other. I know it's one of Netflix's biggest pulls. Part of me kind of hopes it's good because then it gives me hope for the Avatar: The Last Airbender series they're working on or working on.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I know, especially since the original creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender were a part of it and then split from the project for creative differences.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
No.
Sign.
But then they went and started their own studio and we're getting 3 more Avatar movies. So
Did I read something somewhere that the Avatar was going to be set in modern day in a high school?
I think you were reading the casts.
Like the asides, like the casting direction kind
Not
of thing.
yeah, like not so much what the characters were, but how they wanted the characters to be like.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Because I remember you reading that to me. Because the whole point of that bit was to hear me cringe on the radio.
Yes, that was. Which we succeeded.
Yeah, because it was awful, and it made me mad.
I think you left the room.
Or at least the bit I left the room.
You left the room.
Yes, because I really, 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 really love the Last Airbender / Legend of Korra world. I like the world they built. It's very good. It's very interesting. But the live action movie of the Last Airbender done by
M. Night Shyamalan.
Is absolutely terrible. It's awful. Awful movie. Again, live action interpretations of things tend not to be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There
if
are
it started
very
as a manga, then it's going to be hard
there
to
are
translate.
very, 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 very few exceptions to the rule.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to anime adaptations. Even Japanese ones tend to fail pretty hard.
Yeah.
And
they're kind of behind the 8 ball on this one a little bit. But then again, Stranger Things people seem to like it an awful lot. So,
yeah,
they have a good track record. They might,
It might work.
be
I mean,
fine.
it's kind of in their similar wheelhouse
a little bit
of sort of teenage horror supernatural bent.
A little bit.
It might work. I don't know. We will see. I will probably watch it on a cringe-based level.
Of course.
Much like on a lot of things, because curiosity would be like, and especially since Death Note is one of my wife's favorite animes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You'll
have to.
We'll watch it,
Well,
and
then
we will hate it, probably.
We'll get to hear your cringe score.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
This is just like Cody with Cowboy Bebop.
As much as a huge fan I am of Cowboy Bebop, I have still yet to watch it.
Yeah, because it's really bad.
I've heard that, and it makes me sad because I like John Cho. I think he's a good actor, and I was interested to see how he played Spike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still might cringe watch it at some point
you're gonna have to at some point.
Exactly.
When you run out of the cringy anime that you guys watch from week to week.
Yeah. Or the non-cringy anime.
There's good stuff in there too. Sure.
Yeah, like Spy Family, which is on hiatus right now, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's very cute.
Was Pacific Rim an anime before it was a movie?
No.
Or did the manga come out afterwards?
After.
Oh, okay.
After.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
The
that was
movie-
an original
That
creation
was
from-
Pacific Rim Uprising.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Pacific Rim was a Guillermo del Toro.
an Elmo Del Melmo film.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it could have been an anime. I mean, it had all the tones there.
Well,
Oh,
it's because he was a huge fan of like Gundam and Godzilla and stuff like
and
that.
that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
It's Japanese giant robot action fighting big monsters.
It's Guillermo del Toro taking his action figures and smashing them up against each other.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
And it's a delight.
It's delightful.
It is a
great.
It is a delight
Excellent
because
soundtrack.
Yes.
you don't go into it. I still haven't seen the second one,
Oh, don't.
though I've heard it's terrible. You go as long as you don't go into it thinking you're gonna get like some kind of cinema masterpiece.
Oh, no.
You get exactly what you like. That scene where he's dragging that container ship across from out of the harbor and just wallops a monster upside the head with it.
Super good.
Oh man, it's like
So good.
Yes, in like Neo Lights Hong Kong. Oh yeah. Plus, Idris Elba's in it, and he gives a rousing action movie speech.
He does.
He sure does. All right, well, we've actually hit time, so we got to wrap things up for the week. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. Jordan, thank you again for guest hosting on the show.
Hey, anytime.
We're glad to have you. We'll have you back on soon.
Sounds good, my dude.
You can find all of our back episodes and whatnot at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon at Nerd Overload Now.
You can email the show, staff@nerdoverload.com.
Send us your comments, questions.
Yeah, we'll read them on the show.
Yep. Or maybe you see a news article that you saw interesting and you maybe want our take on it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to leave an email, you can also call the Nerd Overload hotline at 586-372-8020. And if you leave a voicemail, we might play it on the show. Or wait X amount of weeks and play it on the show.
We'll get to it sooner.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We promise.
We'll get to it at some point.
You can also find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. And finally, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff over at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Snoochie Boochies.